Welcome to South of King's Landing, Explosion Networks, a Night of the Seven Kingdoms after show, where this season we're breaking down, discussing each and every episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me this week, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here and excited to see what bodily fluids we see next week.
Yeah, it is a, poop. I mean, we've covered sort of the
main two.
The main two, yeah. So have to see what they bring us. What excitement can they bring us on the next episode? This week, episode 2 of the season, Hard Salt Beef is what it was titled. Synopsis was: Dunk appeals to various lords in order to gain entrance into the tournament, but Egg advises him to hold on to his pride. When the Targaryens arrive at Ashford, Dunk seizes his moment with Prince Baelor. Directed by Owen Harris, once again, written by Azia Barnes and Ira Parker. What were your overall thoughts for this week's episode, Ash?
Yeah, a solid episode. Obviously, it's hard to say. We're obviously like only 2 episodes in, but it's just trying to understand what the pacing of the show is going to be like. And it's a little bit of more of a slow burn thing compared to other Throne stuff that we've watched, which, especially towards the last season of the last show of the original series, was like jumping super quickly with time beats and everything. This one is just kind of taking its time, going very slowly, leading up to this, jousting contest that, it seems like we're going to have. And this seems like the most brutal jousting scene in any of Game of Thrones, at least, with...
I'm trying to think like how much of a jousting stuff. I mean, we've seen jousting before, but
yeah, but it's always like one-on-one, like one. This it was like 5 jousts going on at the same time, which seems crazy dangerous.
Yeah, I would also agree that, and not in a bad way, that it's a slow burn, but it's sort of funny because the fact that we're even thinking about it when the show was the first couple seasons, Game of Thrones was known as more of a slow burn, and it was only during that like last 2 seasons that obviously became the teleporting speed phenomenon that it was. And I wouldn't say that House of the Dragon is somewhere in between.
It's also a show with, at least in the first season, a lot of time jumps.
Yeah, I guess that's
so.
it.
The plot was moving along at a reasonably fast clip.
It was only that it's only the last season, I guess, that they slowed it down more. But yeah, the first season definitely you're jumping around several years between every episode. So it is a bit different, I guess, to they're really building up to this one event. But I also the time thing is still like I knew it this time. I was like sort of coming to expect the shorter run time. So that's sort of fine, but I was last week. I was unaware, and I was a bit more shocked. So at least got to appreciate that this time. The other thing that stood out obviously is the fact that we opened the shitting moment from the first episode was such a like, oh my god, left field, sort of not expect that in this sort of franchise IP series. And now we're just we start episode 2 with a big old dick pissing. So I mean it's going to be a running theme, I think. So yeah, I wrote down here Sir Arlen of Pennytree or Sir Arlen of Massive Wood Tree. Am I right?
Okay, I mean the obvious question is real or prosthetic. And
yeah, they borrowed the prosthetic from the 28 Years franchise, I think is what.
Yeah, but then how did they get? Is there a tube running from and a prosthetic underneath him that's connected? No, it couldn't be connected because he turns around, right?
Well, it could be. I don't think it's any more complicated.
Was there somewhere in the prosthetic?
Yeah,
was loaded a bunch of liquid to
some apple
shoot out. That's why it was so long, because it had to fit so much liquid inside the prosthetic.
I don't think it's any more complicated than when they build blood,
A squib.
squib
Blood
and
squib.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a big old dick squib, you know?
I guess. Blood just goes. Whereas this one had to, like, run,
Yeah.
you know. It was a
Really, it's less complicated when you think about it.
steady stream. There's more time that the liquid needs to be moving out of the container.
And really, what else is there to discuss for this week's episode?
Thanks for coming this week.
Yeah. Outside of that,
I mean, it's just a bold opening that, you know.
yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing that's what stands out about that is it just sort of helps, like that whole opening scene.
I mean, it's also juxtaposed with this sweet remembrance by Dunk of his sire.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's a very he's
being very sincere.
Yeah,
obviously talking to all these other knights that he's trying to get to acknowledge. You know, so Ireland,
even the existence of his.
See, his mistake wasn't going. There's a guy with a massive dong, and then they probably would have remembered. You know?
Yeah. Do you ever remember like seeing this guy with a huge dick? Yeah. That was my guy. Refused to go get a cut checked out. Not a big fan of doctors. Fair enough. The other thing I wrote down is Egg is probably a Targaryen bastard, I'm assuming. Now, you said you already Wikipedia'd saw something. But I mean, to me, too many close-ups. You've got the obviously when they first arrive, him running off. And they really like make sure to show a close-up of his face. The fact that he's bald and probably cutting his hair because he's a blondie. Then all the stuff, obviously, even when they're watching the jousting competition and stuff. So, I mean, that's what I've come to believe after this episode or something along those lines.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of odd things about Egg that imply that he is not just a normal kid, you know.
And no one's name is
all his knowledge, and he's very articulate and all that kind of stuff, you know.
He knows a lot about the King's Landing. Yeah. So that's where I'm sort of going with that. Yeah, because no one's name's Egg, and no kid is purposely, I guess.
You don't think anybody would name their kid Egg? Is what you're saying?
I'm just, yeah. No, that is what I'm saying. Correct. Sorry. Not to overdo it. That is what I'm saying. Yep. 110%. So, time will tell. In that same scene, the other funniest moment I think of the episode to me was when they're walking across the bridge and he hears all the racket and he turns around and grabs that dude and goes, "Who's coming?" And then the guy goes, "Can't you see the flags, you tall cunt?" Or, good stuff.
I don't know if how they've portrayed Duncan is that he is excessively more tall than anybody else.
They're really trying to sell his height, yeah.
They're trying to sell his height. But I don't know if it's like visually is coming across.
I mean,
he's a tall dude, but not like he ain't Victor Wembanyama or anything, you know.
No, I feel like it's like scenes like that don't really help out. But what does is when he's later talking to those other two knights, and those two dudes don't look, you know,
short.
They don't look short and all. You know what I mean? Like they're two other, you know, big time knights, and that one dude has to be like, yeah, he's not used to having to look up to someone. So I think stuff like that probably helps sell his height more than having a smaller dude be like, "You tall cunt."
Yeah.
But yeah, they really want to help.
I mean, the natural juxtaposition of Egg and Duncan, like,
yeah,
will naturally play into the making him feel taller. Yeah.
Small, tall. Yeah, it's the other thing I was thinking. Did you see all the? I don't know how much people on your social media saw, but people were like, 'cause even some of it was coming from the official HBO account and stuff like that. But like, there was that scene in Game of Thrones where Joffrey's like flicking through a book of famous knights or something like that, and Jamie's there and someone shared it, and he like flicks through and he's like, Sir Duncan the Tall. He's got 6 pages about him or something like that. So it's sort of funny to see people pointing out times that the character was mentioned all the way back then and stuff like that. But then it's also funny to think that someone who we're currently watching and just seems like sort of a bumbling idiot attempting to make his way through life could end up having 6 pages written about him within this, as like such a...
For his feats and achievements or whatever.
Yeah. So that's sort of funny to think that that's the direction apparently this character is going. Because currently it just feels like... Yeah, you cannot imagine him achieving... But that's part of the story, I guess. It's part of the fun. But and I mean, yeah, because I even wrote down here, based off the scene, obviously, where he attempts to, again, we're on this continued thing of trying to get someone to, I guess, sponsor him to get into the games, and the episode starts with that, and then he like sneaks in and is basically eavesdropping on all the Targaryens and they're other people gossiping and stuff, and then they call him out, and I was like, how this dude hasn't managed to get himself killed yet is kind of impressive. Like,
apparently so big, so
I guess so. Yeah. That was a fun scene, though. I feel like it showed. You got to see that finally someone does actually remember.
Yeah, and the person you would least expect.
Yeah.
Considering what we know such high class,
considering what we know of the Targaryen family and stuff like that, sort of impressive that one of them cared enough to remember a hedge knight as a thing. But he, apart from that dude's brother, is obviously more of what we're used to hearing and seeing from the royalty.
Game of Thrones leadership,
yeah, Game of Thrones leadership. So that was a fun little scene to see play out, and not really who I expected would have guessed would be the one to put him into the games finally, but there you go. Keep things alive. And then we get to the, at the end when you got the, as you pointed out, talking about watching the games and stuff. How do you take that whole scene? Because it's you've got the, like, obviously Egg is something, as I was saying, like watching the games and getting down, asked to be put down off the shoulders and watching it. But then you've also got Duncan who's watching it, and to me just looks like he's getting considerably more and more anxious about the prospect of it all. And I know the episode ends with him saying about, like, basically this call for making these people remember his old master or whatever we're calling him. But I mean, the whole time he's watching the games, the look on his face with each FUD and hit and stuff, it just seems to, again, just coming back to how that, him literally shitting himself in the first episode, that same sort of anxiety written across his face. So I know it was like talking about last time about last episode why he's trying to do the games and if it was just for the money, but yeah, I think it is. It's definitely, it's not about the money. I'm still sticking to it's just he needs this to prove himself, I guess, and he talks about in this episode that he never won this particular games or something like that.
His master didn't win it, never won a contest.
Never won a game. Yeah. So yeah. So impressed. But yeah, what did you make anything more out of?
I think it's definitely the appearance of his realized maybe he's in over his head to an extent. Like, he is kind of flying by the seat of his pants, whether it's the fact that he doesn't really have money for armor, and it sounds like he's just kind of going to be borrowing it, based on the barter that he made with the blacksmith. He's making all these choices hoping he can fix them down the line, like selling the other horse. And then
back.
Actually seeing how, like, maybe close up for the first time, like what a contest is actually going to be like and how brutal it's going to be. And then the last scene is kind of himself hyping himself up and trying to steal his resolve, I guess, to show up tomorrow.
So, I know obviously it's a novella, like a shorter story and stuff like that, but it's, we're trying to get to the third episode and we'll have presumably a lot of the third episode is the competition.
Yeah.
You sort of begin the one of the overall direction of how much, what the overall narrative through line can be for such a short series, you know what I mean?
Well, there's only 6 episodes, obviously. Yeah. Although the show's apparently being renewed for a second season. So, okay. I guess we have to see,
Yeah, because I know there's a couple stories and stuff, but I'm also like, okay, we're getting to just the fight in the third episode. And then what are we doing in 3?
I mean, 90 you just said he had 6 pages written about him, so I'm sure there's plenty of potential storyline.
Well, yeah. But how much of that is we end up in a world where they're going off the creators have to go off the beaten path, do their own stuff because the show's a success, and we know how well that's gone previously when they have to diverge or fill in the gaps from.
I think there's probably a conclusion to his story, so they've got a clear goal at the end rather than the first Game of Thrones, which should have a clear ending written in stone,
Well, they apparently got to.
Or maybe they did and George just decided, no, it wasn't well received. Let's do something else.
Yeah,
we'll just never finish it. So it can never be bad if it's never finished.
Yes. I guess that is true. Anything else from this week's episode?
One of my favorite scenes this week, the tug of war.
Oh, yeah.
Quickly becoming favorite character, old Lionel Baratheon. Just was thirsty halfway through.
Yep.
And stopped competing,
But then it's like he almost seems like he did it to force him to
show
put
how
his back into it, to show how strong he is. Yeah, so
eventually,
although he's on the line, but
I'm not sure Egg's strategy of jumping up on the rope was very effective.
No, I don't think that did anything. Really, just added more weight, I guess.
It just kind of brought it down, but didn't bring it backwards.
Yeah, Egg being involved was pointless. Let's be real.
I think they probably had even numbers, and then they just added Egg for fun.
Yeah,
they still thought it was fair that he was.
Here, kid,
you can hold it.
You can pretend you're involved.
Yeah, it's like your little brother. You don't actually have the other control plugged in.
Yeah. Just press buttons.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, there's one other scene I want to talk about, and that's Sir Duncan talking to what is Tanselli, the puppeteer.
Oh yeah,
and man, that guy has no riz. Lucky he's tall.
Absolutely no riz. You're the perfect size for
what?
Yeah.
And Egg there trying to be the best wingman possible.
Yeah.
But
for puppeteering.
There's only so much
perfect size for puppeteering. For puppeteering.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That did seem to hint at, or maybe just it was. I don't know if it was meant to be like a silly little scene, but I'm like, surely we're going back to her to build some.
Oh no, she was highlighted last week as well.
Yeah. So there's
he clearly fancies her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear that'll be the love interest for this season. But yeah, he's rough. Just I love that. I love how they've written Duncan. He is not exactly the wittiest or the clearly not the smartest. But he gets enough across to make. But he's still charming in his own way, I guess. At least for us.
He's just meant to be the pure-hearted, dim-witted. Yeah. but intentions are good amongst
Sure.
it all. All right, Council's over for this week. Of course, join us next week when we'll be at the halfway point already of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we'll be discussing episode 3. Check out all the other shows over on explosionnetwork.com/podcast, and check out all our articles and fun things on explosionnetwork.com. Explosionnetwork.com. Goodbye.